Heyo, welcome into the CHGO White Sox pregame show presented by PointsBet. Use promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Welcome into Studio A of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm Sean Anderson, the host of the CHGO White Sox pregame show. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. Alongside me as always, well, not always because we haven't been together for a while, but for most road games, joining me as always, Vinnie Duber. You can follow him on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. He's the CHGO White Sox beat writer. And the man in the middle is Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him on Twitter at Ecknerwall23. He's the CHGO White Sox community leader. We are here to preview game 2 of the White Sox versus the Mariners out in not Safeco Field, but T-Mobile Park in Seattle. The White Sox won game 1 in a kind of a cardiac win basically yesterday, 3-2 in an afternoon fun game where Lynn was great for 7 innings. We'll talk about that. We will preview today's game, Johnny Cueto versus Logan Gilbert. 2 guys doing it completely different ways. One young stud, a different crafty veteran. Very interesting pitching matchup tonight. And Vinny's apparently got some beef with me.
I do. Yes, that'll be exciting. We'll do that later.
All right, we'll do that later. All right. Hey, I didn't know. Vinny just said he had issues with me, so
not a beef. I just want to call you out.
All right, that's all. Hey, I didn't know if we just wanted to get the show rolling and
when we look at the lineups.
Okay,
when we look at the lineups.
Sounds good. All right, so let's talk about Lynn. Let's talk about the big bastard who was fantastic yesterday in 7 innings. I'm very interested, Herb, in your take on this. Did you like Miguel Cairo pulling Lynn because he wasn't really at that high of a pitch count, was cruising 11 Ks yesterday, or were you fine with him going to the bullpen?
I didn't really have a problem with it, but it was like 89 pitches. The man was rolling, and he looked like the old big bastard. First time he got double-digit strikeouts this whole season, he looked like he was finding his way. And so Miguel's done this multiple times. He's done this, I think, with Johnny Cueto, where I thought that he could have pitched a couple more times. Maybe just saving bullets for a little later games, and he knows that his bullpen will get the job done with Kendall Graveman having to pick up some of the inning. He looked all right, and then Liam looking a little shaky, but they got the job done. So I thought it was a little early, but Miguel Cairo, it seems like he is into this pattern where he doesn't want to push the limits of his pitchers, especially guys who have been injured this year. And so I'm fine with it, especially because it worked. The results were good. But, yeah, the big bastard out there, man, I'm sure it took a talking to and a cussing out of Miguel Cairo. But that's what leaders have to do, make unpopular moves because they think it is the best interest of the team.
And don't discount the whole matchup factor. I think a lot of people, everybody's got the stats at their fingertips and they can look up one stat versus another stat. There's been a few times this year when Tony LaRussa has been very much criticized for a move because of what people thought the matchup he was looking at was when he was looking at a different one that was favorable in the move that he made. Miguel Cairo has been making a lot of pitching changes, and I think he might have those matchups very much at the forefront of his mind. Again, obviously I'm not out in Seattle. Don't really know what his explanation was in terms of the specific thing he was looking at, but it just seems like something that he always has at the top of mind. He is making a lot of pitching changes since he stepped in as to that acting manager role.
And I do wonder, he kind of talked about it being a collective job, basically. He's taking advice from all of his coaches, the entire staff, kind of calling it a group effort while Tony's out. So I do wonder how much maybe Ethan Katz is being influenced or influencing these bullpen moves.
Yeah, probably. Not probably. That sounds like something that would be the case. And not only that, I mean, again, don't think that Tony LaRussa, every time Ethan Katz was there was, making him talk to the hand or anything like that. But because he was sitting right there next to him for every single game. I think Ethan Katz has a very big role on this team, and really every time that there's been a pitching decision, particularly a pregame pitching decision, certainly my mind goes to the Joe Kelly opener experiment. Cairo is quick to say, this is me talking to the pitching coach, talking with the front office. Maybe Tony kind of thought that went without saying, in some of the things that they decided back when he was sitting in the chair. But now that Miguel Cairo is sitting there, he is one to give credit to basically everybody who is involved in a decision. And so I think that's why you're hearing Ethan Katz's name more, not necessarily because but also you have to remember, too, Miguel Cairo's never done this before. Right. Tony LaRussa has done this a gajillion times. it makes sense that people would be stepping in and offering more advice, assistance, whatever you would, just because maybe Miguel Cairo needs it, not to cast any aspersions, just saying this is the first time he's done it.
Right. And to talk on behalf of Tony, I'm thinking maybe he thinks like no matter what the collaboration is, at the end of the day, win, lose, or draw, the ire is going to be on Tony. So no matter what, you're making the decision, it's going to be on you.
That's that accountability he always talks about, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So, yes, Miguel might be saying, hey, I'm doing a little bit more collaboration because he is a first-time manager, acting manager as of right now. So he can tell the media, hey, this is what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. And it can globalize it. It can feel like he's globalizing it, and like the blame will be globalized. But if that Joe Kelly thing would not have worked, which it didn't, and they would have lost that game, people are like, what the fuck you doing, Miguel Cairo? Don't be listening to those people. Joe Kelly sucks.
I disagree. I mean, what I said on Sunday when we did the show about the opener is we've seen that before. I mean, Tony did that when it was back in
very limited
Texas, right? But we did see that Reynaldo Lopez opened for Davis Martin. And I think the connection might be around that time. That was when the lineups were kind of getting iffy, and I think that they kind of straightened them out. There was a report, I think, from Mike Rodriguez saying that the front office is giving more data to Tony to put in towards the lineups. So I do wonder if then that was kind of the same area, or maybe if he was taking more information for lineups, maybe he would be doing that as well for starting rotations. And also, I mean, we really haven't seen Davis Martin up too much, so I think that you can see some of the front office influences in what Miguel Cairo has done recently. And again, I think that your point of, he's never done this before is very fair. Like he's done that, I think, is at a minor level, but nothing too even, I think Shelley Duncan has more minor league managing experience than even Miguel Cairo does.
And I can believe that Miguel Cairo probably has to do that. I'm thinking if Miguel Cairo thinks that he's going to be a manager eventually, or of this White Sox team, if Tony was to happen to step down, he has to listen to the general manager because he doesn't have the gravitas, the power that Tony LaRussa does. Like, Tony might listen to Rick Hahn, but Miguel Cairo has to listen to Rick Hahn and all the extra people around there if they're giving suggestions. So he wants to give the collaboration. Hey, I'm here. This is my first time. Yes, I'll listen to what you got to say. Ethan Katz, hey, I'll listen to what you got to say. Shelley Duncan, analytics department, because I don't know what I'm doing in particular. Tony's like, I have got skins on the wall. I'll listen to you guys, but at the end of the day, I'll take my decision and go forward. So yeah, it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't with Tony. With Miguel, it's pretty much, he doesn't do the job. He hasn't done the job, so he gets a break no matter what. And the results of 5-1, or if you call it 5-2, are favorable for him, so everybody's like, okay, here we go. This man's doing good stuff.
Well, I think it's interesting just because obviously we've been looking for a spark or a turnaround, and the fact that it just happens or coincides with Tony leaving, it's suspicious. But again, they're also playing Kansas City, Minnesota. They've only played one game against Seattle. Two of those teams they should be beating 2 out of 3 games. So it's nothing I think that you can immediately draw a connection to. But we discussed this, I think, on our last show, Herb. Frank Minichino, there was Lawrence Holmes talking on The Score, mentioning how he heard how Frank Minichino has wanted to change things, but maybe Tony has liked the way that the White Sox play offensively, and maybe his ideas weren't getting through. I know it's very tough to draw from only a 7-game data set here, but 1.9 home runs per game in those past 7 games, and the 128 games they played before that, 0.8 home runs per game. It does feel like they are playing with a little bit more swagger, and Gordon Beckham talked about it a little bit in the 4th inning last night, just being like, when you're getting home runs, the pressure just is relieved. So maybe guys are just pressing less because just the results that they've been hoping for is coming. But I do just find it interesting, or maybe that's some of the things that I'm watching while Tony's out, is if this trend does continue, maybe things have actually changed, or maybe directions have changed with Tony stepping out.
And I know I've said, might help, doesn't hurt, might help if Tony leaves. But also, if the players are starting to respond to Miguel Cairo or playing well because of Tony's not there, shame on them. They're professionals. They need to play as this all season long. This should have been the focus every single day. No matter what, if Tony's telling them to do certain things. Like I said before, managers don't matter that much. Yes, Tony has affected some of these games, and so I've softened on that. But players, I think 95% of the time, affect the games. They will determine if the game is won and lost. So yes, they're playing better. But this should be happening in April. it should have happened in April. And, yeah, Tony, there's been bad managers or people who have been affecting games for a long time, and players overcome that. Hell, who is that guy? Ned Yost won a World Series. Tell me he's a good manager. The Royals just overplayed, and they just won because they have better players, and they just all right, let's win.
The White Sox with Tony LaRussa last year won 93 games.
Well, but here's the thing. All of this, this entire part of this conversation, this is people inventing causality for results.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Nobody has any, actual backup to the players weren't responding to Tony. They just weren't winning. Tony it has to be taken away from the team because of his health situation. They start winning, and everybody goes, "Oh my God, it must have been the manager. That was the problem." Give it a little bit more. They got a whole rest of September and into October to play. It's also possible that the thing that Tony has been saying the entire year finally happened. Maybe it finally happened, and here's the thing. It just happened to coincide with what he was doing. All we can do is listen to the players and listen to the people who are involved with this on a daily basis, and none of them said anything like that. People weren't responding to Tony. So listen, I understand 90% of the fan base hates the guy and wants him to no longer be the manager, but don't think that a nice stretch here over a week is because he had to go get medical tests.
Well, they've had stretches of 5-2 this season.
Exactly.
Right. So, and again, they should be taking 2 out of 3 against Cleveland or Kansas City. They should be taking 2 out of 3 against Minnesota. If they take 2 out of 3 against Seattle, my eyes might pop out of my head okay, this is something new and interesting because this team
may be playing well.
Yeah.
They did take 2 out of 3 versus Seattle early in the season.
And they just took 2 out of 4 against Houston not too long ago, too.
That's true.
Yeah.
But then also how that Houston series ended.
They were outscored a bit in that series, I think. Yeah.
But going to the Seattle early on in the season, that was a different team. For both teams. Seattle hadn't found that groove at that point. They just were adding in Jesse Winker and Eugenio Suarez. And they didn't have these pitchers as well.
Rodriguez wasn't the Rodriguez of now.
Right. And the White Sox, Luis Robert was healthy. Tim Anderson was on the team. It's a completely different team.
And it's why when Rick Hahn says, a quote-unquote big series in the moment, or just a series against a winning team or a team that ends up going to the playoffs in the moment, doesn't say anything about other than what those two teams were like in that moment, right?
And two, what we've seen is, and we can show Lance Lynn's stats, since July 23rd, the pitching's been good. It's really just been the hitting that has been so inconsistent. We saw the White Sox have a good, July, a pretty good August. The main thing that was holding them down was home runs. We were looking for that for August Abreu, and he only provided 2 home runs in that month. So again, it's mainly just been one part of this team, and Lance Lynn's been part of the turnaround for the Sox, at least pitching rotation-wise. Since July 23rd, 55 and 1/3 innings, 2.28 ERA, 40 hits allowed, 5 walks, 67 Ks, and he's increased that curveball usage to 10.5%. He's never really been over 9% in his career, so very interesting to see that usage go up, and Herb mentioned it, 11 Ks for Lance Lynn. I do find it very interesting having Lance Lynn pitch today and Johnny Cueto pitch, or Lance Lynn pitched yesterday, Johnny Cueto pitched today. The fact that those two guys just back and forth between, going back to back in this rotation, Johnny Cueto being the guy who was brought in to replace Lance Lynn for his injury. And those 3 guys, Dylan Cease, Johnny Cueto, and Lance Lynn, kind of carrying this rotation. It's just been real fun to watch these veterans work and be so crafty. And Lance Lynn now pull out this curveball that he really hasn't used and now turn it into the pitch that's kind of saved his 2022 season. It's been really interesting to watch him work and be a veteran leader for this pitching staff and for this team. So let's talk about the starting lineup. So Vinny can tell me what he's got his beef with me for. Leading off for your Sox, Elvis Andrus at shortstop.
There he is. There's the guy.
Elvis Andrus?
That's the guy I want to talk to you about.
All right. Well, Elvis Andrus leading off, playing shortstop. Batting second, Yohan Moncada at third base. Batting third, Jose Abreu at first base. Batting fourth, Eloy Jimenez at designated hitter. Batting fifth, Gavin Sheets in right field. Batting sixth, A.J. Pollock in left field. Batting seventh, Luis Robert in center field. Batting eighth, Yasmani Grandal at catcher. And batting ninth, Romy Gonzalez at second base. What did Elvis do?
Well, Elvis has been doing very well, and I think that's what you've noticed when you tweet. But if you follow Sean on Twitter, you know that at least about 6 or 7 times a day he'll tweet about how much he hates the fact that there are two first basemen frequently playing the corner outfields for the White Sox. Now, if you follow Sean on Twitter also, you will notice the other day, I think it was just yesterday, or maybe it was even today, someone had made some ridiculous comment that, the White Sox don't need Tim Anderson because they have Elvis Andrus. You rushed to the defense of Tim Anderson. Nice job. Tim Anderson is good.
Thank you.
And you said, but Elvis Andrus has to be their starting second baseman even though he's never done it before.
But I think it's different switching from shortstop to second base than first base to right field.
I don't disagree with that, but I thought it was funny that you were so adamant about a guy playing a position at the major league level for a team in a playoff race that has never done so before, when literally every day you're just constantly complaining about how the White Sox are playing people out of position. I just figured I'd call you out on it. Like I told you before the show, I don't think I really disagree with you in any way, but I thought it was funny that you that those two things came together.
It has credence. It has credence. I mean, a little different.
I mean, I don't know. Like, the footwork must be almost like it's
Reverse.
like doing something. Yeah, it's maybe
in a mirror, right?
Yeah, it's like, okay, I got to run now to my right instead of usually running to my left and throwing the ball, going up the middle. It'll be a little harder. But yes, he has to be the second baseman. Roman Gonzalez has done an awesome job this year, stepping in.
Good defense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Elvis Andrus has been with the bat and with the glove. He's been exactly, probably a little bit more than what Rick Hahn expected when he signed him up. So, yeah, Elvis Andrus is the second baseman when Tim Anderson returns eventually.
Probably the way I'd go, but I'll say this. The biggest part of this conversation here is maybe, when's TA coming back? Right. As we heard from the guys who are out in Seattle today, there's no date on it right now. And while there is about a full month left in the season, so plenty of time for him to come back, I think the expectation is that he will come back before the end of the season. It's going to be a little bit still that Elvis Andrus is going to have to keep carrying the load at or at shortstop rather. So it is something that, I think people can think ahead to when Tim is going to come back, particularly if you're looking at the White Sox as a playoff team, because that would extend their season even further. But right now, the focus has to be on Elvis Andrus making sure that he plays shortstop, because who knows when Tim Anderson's going to be back there.
Yeah, it's such a weird injury, too, because I don't know what sagittal band tear rehab's like. My math for 6 weeks when it happened was September 20th. So the fact that they don't have a date and they're still 15 days out from that date, I'm not super worried, because that still gives, 7 days for this road trip. Rick Hahn updates you like, hey, we're a week out, Tim Anderson will be back. I think people will be fine, right? Like, that's my expectation, that after they return from Oakland, Rick Hahn will probably speak to the media, because he just hasn't for a very long time.
He hasn't for a very long time. That is correct.
And I think that you probably hear something on Tim Anderson.
But it is
my
a two-game set, though. They're coming back for a homestand.
They'll have that off day Monday. But
yeah, so maybe he doesn't waste it on that one. But yeah, Tim's on the road, right, with the team. So that must be. I take that as a positive. Like, if you're going on the road as an injured person, you must be getting some type of treatment with the training staff out there to get back on a faster pace, because if you stay at home, you might be hurt a little bit more than you're letting on. So I'm feeling a little bit better about Tim returning sooner than later. And so I want him to return, because when Tim Anderson's right, this team moves. And with the addition of Elvis Andrus and how the team is playing right now, and AJ Pollock hitting the ball, the way he's hitting the ball, this team is moving. This team is doing well. And if Tim comes back, and I don't think he'll have a rehab start, because there's really no place to rehab. So I hope he's just getting his wind about him right now. His baseball movement is about him right now on the road in Seattle and Oakland.
It's all about the timing at the plate. I think that's really all it comes down to. And I think the update today, if I saw on Twitter correctly, was that he hasn't started swinging yet. So listen, that's the guy they need for if they're gonna A, make the playoffs, and B, win in the playoffs. They need him to be, crunch time TA like he's been the last few years for them, because Herb, like you just said, he makes the team go when he's up there at the top of the lineup.
Well, and just to talk about guys that are out, and just to bring Tony back in, because I do think it was interesting that Chi-Town Fanboy just mentioned Steve Stone and apparently Paul Sullivan laying the groundwork for Tony's return. Also, Bob Nightingale kind of doing that on Unfiltered with Cap, who says Tony's intention is to return for sure before the end of the season. Next year, that can go either way. He definitely wants to manage next season. So does sound like Tony might be coming back. I mean,
but why wouldn't his intention be to come back? It's his job. His intention should be to finish his job. Absolutely. The thing is, we have no idea what is going on. There has been no update yet on what his status is from the team. If the team comes out and says we're concerned about his health, his doctors are concerned about his health, and he needs to stay away to take care of that, then there's your answer. If they say, oh yeah, the test's all checked out fine, he's okay, come back to the dugout, he'll be there. He'll be here tomorrow. Then there you go. I mean, of course the intention is going to be that he wants to come back. Tony LaRussa, and to be fair, it would not surprise me at all if his intention is to come back next year too. I mean, what Bob Nightingale tweeted is not news. Tony LaRussa is the most competitive person in the world who, when he took the job, said that being in the front office of a baseball team, not at home watching on the couch, being in the front office was torture because it meant he couldn't manage. This is a guy who is, for better or for worse, White Sox fans, in your opinion, addicted to managing a baseball team.
And the guy that is addicted to managing a baseball game wants to put Andrew Vaughn at second base. So I think we can trust Elvis Andrus at second base. All right? So I guess that's my
So you're telling me more games under their belt as a major league second baseman, Andrew Vaughn or Elvis Andrus, who's been in the league for 15 years. Yeah. The answer is Andrew Vaughn.
The answer is Andrew Vaughn. Someone, I think, who did there's a stat. I think it was, now I hate doing this because now I have to. The bad news is Elvis Andrus has only played one game at second base in his pro career back in 2005 in the Braves minor league system. He played 2 games in the outfield in 2006.
Wait, was that 2005? Ooh, I don't know. So I went to a Myrtle Beach Pelicans game back on a family vacation way back when, and Elvis Andrus was playing for the Myrtle Beach Pelicans at the time. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2007.
So it was a couple years after.
Yeah.
So he was in rookie ball or something playing second base.
Still with the Atlanta Braves though. Yeah, and he was still playing shortstop at that point. So I mean, it's been a long time. Literally since the White Sox won the World Series was the last time Elvis Andrus played second base.
Andrew Vaughn more recently.
Baby. All right, let's look at the Mariners starting lineup. We were all worried about 8:40. It's already 8:24. Man, we can just go on tangents.
We can gab.
Leading off for the Mariners, Julio Rodriguez in center field. Batting second, Ty France at first base. Batting third, Mitch Haniger in right field. Batting fourth, Eugenio Suarez at third base. Batting fifth, Jesse Winker in left field. Batting sixth, Cal Raleigh at catcher. Batting seventh, Adam Frazier at second base. That's Herb's guy. Batting eighth, Jake Lamb at designated hitter, my guy. And batting ninth, J.P. Crawford at shortstop. Adam Frazier, Herb, who'd you want to trade for him?
I didn't want to trade him. I was willing to trade, and that was dumb. I was willing to trade our guy, Andrew Vaughn, for him last year. And he was doing well with the Pirates. I was like, let's get a championship. I admit it, I've been wrong. But to answer your question, I think Josh Fiore asked earlier, who would I vote for Rookie of the Year this year, Julio Rodriguez or Adley Rutschman? I would vote for Julio Rodriguez. But that's what we discussed, I think, a couple of weeks ago. Moving forward, having a switch-hitting great catcher would be more valuable than having a great center fielder as in Julio Rodriguez. So I'd take Adley Rutschman going forward, even though I'm a Julio Rodriguez guy.
Yeah, Rookie of the Year, Adley or Julio?
I think Julio Rodriguez. He's just played a lot more, right? I mean, he's shown this kind of talent, right, over a much longer stretch. But I'm with Herb probably mostly just because of the position, right? I mean, If you're going to have yourself, that what is routinely, and now that the DH is in both leagues, I guess it is the worst offensive position on the field for most teams. If you're going to tell me you're going to have like an all-star caliber player batting, an all-star caliber offensive player at that position, that makes building the rest of your roster so much easier.
Yep, damn true. And hey, I think that's probably why the White Sox went out and made their highest paid free agent ever a switch hitting catcher.
Absolutely right. And I mean, you laugh now because of the results have been what the results have been, but I mean,
was great.
I don't regret it.
I mean, let's put it this way. It doesn't look like that is the guy. And again, not even because of his fault, because he's just been injured so much. He doesn't look like the guy who should have gotten the largest free agent contract in team history, but he did. And I think what you just said, the reasoning there was completely accurate.
I don't know. I mean, who was the largest free agent history or largest free agent contract before Yasmani?
Albert Bell.
Albert Bell?
I think $55 million. Yeah. But he got out early after 2 years.
How long was Dunn? Dunn was 4 years, right? I mean, I don't know. Yasmani, I think it was still worth it because he gave you 2 great years. And then hearing just what he has gone through this year, just the fact that he had like so much numbness in his body, like I still can't say it's a bad sign.
I still think he's underpaid, even though this year it's so bad. Last year was just so great. The 23 home runs.
Mm-hmm. He missed a month.
Yeah, and he was not, as I told Royals fans last year, the best hitting catcher in the whole league, on the American League, was Yasmani Grandal. I don't care about the 50 home runs you hit.
It's a lot of home runs.
But, yeah, Yasmani missed more games, and he had a higher F4 than Salvi Perez. So, yes, he had a great year. That's why I want to be tapped in. I know that's there. I know that Yasmani is there with that switch-hitted bat and the power bat. It hasn't shown up this year, but when it does, watch out.
Yeah, hopefully it shows up. I mean, he showed up on Saturday, and he had 2 RBIs in that game. One was a home run. He said, "Fuck it, let's go." So maybe he'll be unloading tonight. Let's look at the pitching matchup, and then we'll get to our clicks to picks and our predictions because this game is about to start. Pitching for your Chicago White Sox is your probably favorite pitcher on the White Sox, Johnny Cueto. 129.
No love for Dylan Cease.
I don't know. Johnny Cueto's so lovable though. So is Dylan, but.
It's whether you prefer horses or honey, really. What is your agriculture of choice?
Horse or honey?
For me? I mean, I would probably be far more likely to eat honey than I would be to ride a horse. Right. That being said, I'd be interested in riding a horse. I don't think it would go very well, but I'd be interested in it.
I still feel like Dylan Cease could probably set you up with a horse ride. I don't.
I see what you're saying. You're saying Cease could find a way to
be a horse guy too.
To get on a horse, Johnny could not find you a way to acquire you some bee-made honey. Gotcha.
So.
Weirdly enough, I was researching Dylan Cease while I was in Atlanta, where Dylan Cease is from, Milton, a suburb of Atlanta. That suburb and that part of the Georgia is a big-time equestrian place.
Baby.
So yes, Dylan Cease knows horses.
Bruce Springsteen's daughter. An Olympian equestrian.
Yeah.
Right. Johnny Cueto, 129 innings pitched this year, 2.93 ERA, 124 hits allowed, 82 strikeouts, 27 walks, and an ERA plus of 136. MLB average is 100. Logan Gilbert is the pitcher for the Mariners today, 155 and 2/3 innings pitched this year, a 3.35 ERA, 147 hits allowed, 142 strikeouts, and 42 walks, and a 1.10 ERA. Let's talk about Johnny Cueto. He was very, 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 very good in his last outing against Kansas City. 5 1/3, 6 hits, 5 strikeouts, 1 earned run. What are we expecting for Johnny today going up against a pretty formidable lineup? You got, Julio Rodriguez at the top. Ty France was an all-star. I like Cal Raleigh even in that 6th spot. Even going down to that 8th spot, I think they even have a decent hitter. I can't think of it's my guy, Jake Lamb.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they have dangerous hitters 1 through 9.
Yeah, and I think that yesterday Lance Lynn was on his game, and then also the shadows were playing a factor in them seeing his fastball, them seeing his cutter, etc. So the offense for the Seattle Mariners you saw coming live in the 9th inning there was because of the clarity. There was a little bit darker there. The backdrop was helping a little bit more. So you'll see a little bit more offense today than you saw yesterday. I expect Johnny Cueto to give his level best. Probably 4 earned runs today. It's on the road, but he'll give the team a chance to win. But this team is very good. They've been on a good streak. They've been beating the Cleveland Guardians like they stole something, also the Detroit Tigers. So to win yesterday's game was key for the White Sox, and for Lance Lynn to pitch the way he did was awesome. Johnny Cueto only needs to do the same things that he's been doing as of late. The one bad start, but he came back and shoved it up the team's ass. I think Johnny Cueto will do the same. 6+ innings. I think he only went 5 1/3 last time. I think he'll be the Johnny Cueto that we've seen most of this year, but 4 earned runs, though.
Vivid imagery from her there with what Johnny Cueto's doing. But
my radio instincts wanted to dump him.
Hey, consistency, right? That's what Johnny Cueto's delivered all year long. So you shouldn't expect anything but what you've gotten from Johnny Cueto pretty much every single time out. This is a good Seattle team, and he's faced some other good teams, and he's gone ahead and made sure that they've been held at bay for the most part too. I don't see Johnny Cueto giving up a lot. I think the thing to remember about yesterday's game, White Sox didn't really hit all that well either.
No.
They just happened to have some balls go out of the yard, which really should show you the biggest difference between winning and losing for them as the entire season has gone on. Gilbert's no slouch here for Seattle. I think it's probably going to be hard again for the White Sox to get the offense going. Maybe not quite as hard for the M's, other than the fact that you have the very, very good Johnny Cueto on the mound for the White Sox.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. I mean, looking at the playoff teams Johnny Cueto's gone against, we've always talked about 6 innings and 3 earned runs is what you're looking for a guy like Johnny Cueto. Against Houston, 8 innings, 1 earned run. You look at the game against the Dodgers, 6 innings, 3 earned runs. Toronto, 6 innings, 3 earned runs. New York, 6 innings, no earned runs. Baltimore, 5 1/3, but 3 earned runs. Houston, again, 7 innings, no earned runs. So he has been really, really big and consistent in those playoff matchups. So it's really been fun to watch Johnny Cueto. And then Logan Gilbert on the other end, he's seen the Sox before. Interesting enough, Logan Gilbert had the second lowest swinging strikes this year against the Sox back in April. Now, the Sox were consistently just swinging early. They weren't walking. They've now started swinging a little bit less and striking out more, still aren't walking. But I guess they've been hitting more home runs, so it'll be an interesting matchup here. Maybe Logan Gilbert doesn't fool them too much. They're able to get some good swings on it, and as long as Rick Hahn said it, ball in air, team go far. So
I noticed I've been watching this game 2 starts ago versus the Cleveland Guardians. He's usually fastball, forcing fastball, slider, knuckle curve, changeup. He shelved his slider for the most part versus the Cleveland Guardians. Only struck out 2 Guardians as if they want to do, put bat on ball. Didn't hit him too hard. I think he gave up 2 earned runs and went 6 1/3. So if he has that same game plan, he was just falling in love with his fastball. He was getting it up to 98 miles per hour. It was sitting like 96. So the White Sox need to attack. And what the Guardians were doing is let them ball get deep and then hitting the other way. Naylor, Ramirez, all the people. So they were getting on base, but then Logan Gilbert was overpowering them with that 98-mile-per-hour fastball when he needed to.
Yeah, and Sox in the game in April, 8 fly balls against Gilbert. 8 fly balls to 8 ground balls. As long as they're hitting more fly balls than ground balls, hopefully they're able to put some runs on the board.
Same series where they lit up Robbie Ray, too.
Yes, and that was in the rain, though. So, maybe that zapped his powers. Let's get into our clicks to pick, but before that, we have to let you know about PointsBet Sportsbook. They're counting down the days until the football season starts with a new offer every day. From now until September 8th, the PointsBet Power Hour will unlock a new daily offer from 12 to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you were looking for boosted odds on the Super Bowl champion, you could have gotten that today from 12 to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time on the PointsBet app. We also got to let you know, since football is starting today through the end of the Bears game, if you use promo code CHGO as a new user, this is for new users only, if you use the code CHGO and bet $51 or more pregame or live on the Bears versus Niners game, you'll receive a Midway varsity hoodie or sweatshirt. You can see that on the screen right now. We got 2 great designs. I think I'm more of a vintage crew guy than I am a varsity
crew looks
guy.
Real nice.
It does look real nice.
I like that a lot.
Herb was already talking about the shirt version, and now
T-shirt version.
Yeah, now
I got
that
that
the
at the
sweatshirt.
I'm going to go with the varsity. It's a full zip hoodie. Oh, that's my shit right there.
Really? You're not going with the crew?
Nah, I mean, that's great, but that is like made for me. I would love a full zip. But people talk about those 3/4 zips, the pullovers. No, full zip hoodie. Mercy.
Vinny and I are on the crew next one, and you'll also.
Herb, I'm with you.
You're the
Look
zip.
at Steven.
I'm a zip guy.
Oh, come on.
You get the versatility of having open or closing it all the way up.
Hey, I think it just speaks to Eric designing these fantastically. You'll also get a QB1 shirt, a CHGO membership, and 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000 on PointsBet. So what are you waiting for? Bet on this Bears-Niners game. I know Cody from the CHGO Cubs was talked into putting some money on the Bears money line after listening to CHGO Bears today. So check out the new additions as well to the CHGO Bears podcast. Mark Carmen, Greg Braggs, Carmen Vitale, and Corey Wooten, too, who ended Brett Favre's career.
Thank Jesus.
Pretty good addition
and
there.
then Garrett Crochet was rocking the Vikings Brett Favre jersey on the road trip.
And he truly got that when he was 10 years old. I mean, he was born in 1999.
I'm gonna give you some inside info here. That one was just kicking around the clubhouse.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of the guys, it might not have surprised you, did not have their own jerseys.
I mean, Josh didn't have his own jersey.
Brett Favre jersey just in the locker room.
I think it was brought as a hilarious item, a vintage item.
I bet it was Diekman that brought it.
Like Josh Harrison got a Cincinnati Bearcat jersey instead of an NFL jersey. I was like,
because he went to Cincinnati.
That's where he went.
Understood. It's an NFL jersey day,
right?
And everybody else was wearing an NFL jersey.
That is correct. Yes.
A college jersey. Come on now.
That's a drummer making his own beat. I don't mind that. That's Josh Harrison revving up those engines. Anyways, Bet on that damn Niners and Bears game. Use that code CHGO and bet $51 or more pregame or live on the Bears-Niners game. And again, you'll receive the varsity hoodie or crew neck sweatshirt, the QB1 shirt, CHGO membership, and 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000 on PointsBet. Vinny, who is your click to pick?
Wow, I'm leading off with the dark horse here. I'm going with Romy Gonzalez today. He's been all right. He has been all right since coming up. You know, maybe he's not going to make the huge offensive impact, but I think he's good for a few really nice defensive plays there at second base that might save some runs for Johnny Cueto. Johnny Cueto's become a master of dancing out of trouble. Romy Gonzalez with the sure glove could help him out there at second base, so that's who I'm going to go with. I will say, though, that the White Sox lose today. I'm going to say by a score of 5-2.
Okay.
I'm going Yohan Moncada, coming back off the IL yesterday. It's his first start today. Batting second, so he has the protection he needs. Logan Gilbert will be pitching right into his swing path. I think he gets a home run today, but as Vinny says, I think they lose. Johnny Cueto keeps him in the game, gives up 4 earned runs. The White Sox eventually lose 4-1.
I'm going Yaz. I think Yaz has a good game because fuck it. I'm just buying into his mentality. I did see our guy Mailman Jack ask if Gavin Sheets was going to get his first road home run. I was tempted to pick it just with the way that Gilbert throws high fastballs, so maybe. But 12 home runs for Gavin Sheets, 12 at home, none on the road. So I'm not going to be the first brave man to make that call on Gavin Sheets hitting a home run. But I'll go with Yaz. I think he has something left in the tank. I'm crossing my fingers because I think Yaz can turn it around. So we'll go with Yaz, and I think the White Sox win 4-2. We'll go with them closing out this series, taking 2 of 3, and then seeing if they could beat Luis Castillo for the hell of it tomorrow. So we'll see. But I think Johnny Cueto comes through, and I don't like Logan Gilbert too much. I think the White Sox get to him. So we'll go White Sox win 4-2. We will see you after today's game. We'll see if the Sox win. Again, make sure to join us about 10 minutes after the game goes final here on the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We will have the hour-long post-game show for you. Thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you after the game. Go Sox.